ladies and gentlemen, Professor Oniwabara.
Thank you very much. Once again, let me seize this opportunity to welcome each and every one of us that has made our time to attend this summit. The first plenary section will be chaired by Dr. Pascal Dozie, and he's a man that we know very well. And I will ask each and every person that is coming to discuss issues here, the moderators have to make sure that each panel sticks to the guidelines and the time frame. While we're doing that, the first plenary is going to talk about updates on before that we have updates on the Video Brain Health report on SEFCo, the last year's summit. Also, we will have the ongoing investment projects in the Southeast. SEFCo has some overarching projects that we are very, very passionate about. We have the rail, we have the hospital, we have the gas pipeline, and we have the power. And by proxy, the Enyimba Economic City that we are very, very passionate about. If all of us are aware, last week, the president signed a MOU with Enyimba Economic City. This is one of the things that have come up from this organization in just 2 years. And we are very passionate and happy that things are happening in the Southeast. So we have panelists that are going to talk about some of these key projects. Soon after that, Professor Twanya will present updates on the World Bank Subnational Ease of Doing Business report, and we'll have panel on ease of doing business in Nigeria and sharing experiences. We have invited Igbo Sons and Daughters. The beauty of what SEFCo and our partners is doing is this. Every discussant, 99% of our discussants are sons and daughters of Igbo land. All the experts are sons and daughters of Igbo land. We are not short of experts. We are not short of those who have the machinery to invest in the development of our labor. So what we are asking the sons and daughters of Igbo land to do is to come home, Akurolo, and do what we have been doing in other places. We can develop this place. And I know that, God willing, we have the ability to nurture it to do that. So basically, this is the rundown. We'll be making updates, we'll be making some adjustments as time goes on. But having said that, we will start the first plenary. So, I'm glad that, I hope that everybody has a copy of the program. So, we are going to stick to it and make sure that we stick to time. It's very, very important to us. Again, I thank us for coming, and I wish us a very productive and successful outing. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
I hope we have digested all the beautiful tea, coffee we had, and therefore we are awake. Are we awake? Okay. This is a beautiful session because it is a session of committed Igbos. A session of committed Igbos, passionate Igbos. If you take this gentleman on my left, I wonder how he does it. I told you to not give me, because I'm a storyteller. Here he comes for meetings. He will take DA and come from London, have a meeting in the evening, the following morning, or the day he goes by Virgin. Each time there is a meeting on the railways, he is always there. I think it's a worrisome activity. Now, I'll stop talking about this or else I'll go on, because this man is Mr. Gas, it's Mr. Finance. Now, what we are supposed to do is very simple. We are talking about existing efforts being made to actualize what we are trying to do as SEFCo. Yes. I have been resisting this, but I have no choice. Please forgive me before I make my confession. Can I, with all due respect and humility, invite Madam Ifejika to the podium? Now, we are talking about rail, gas pipeline, and then Enyimba Economic City. If you don't mind, let me do this by the first order. Because this Enyimba Economic City is a game changer. Very big game changer. May I ask, Professor, yes, you know that I was going to call you. I know. Please tell us about this project.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The CEO of Enyimba Economic City is Mr. Dal Ozo. He's in Germany today on the Enyimba Economic City mission. And Enyimba Economic City is in Abia State quite all right. But as part of what we do, we like to think that a lot of big projects like that are not about the states, but the region. And that's why we take active interest in Enyimba Economic City. It is a 10,000 hectare industrial city being developed. And the chairman of the advisory committee is no other than the chairman of this summit, Dr. Pascal Dozie. I serve on the advisory committee of that development. But it is an audacious project whereby even the federal government, you probably heard that they signed the free zone license last week. And yes. And the federal government is investing 10 billion naira in that project. But that's a minuscule amount of what's going to be invested there. For example, a Chinese company, Rui, which is the largest textile manufacturing company in the world, is coming there to invest minimum $400 million, perhaps up to $600 million. What are they going to invest in? Building textile lines. Two types of textile lines. Dr. Dozie was privileged to go to see their infrastructure. I wish that I saw it, but they can go for kilometers. They're going to have cotton, from cotton to the actual cloth, to garment making, from a petrochemical all the way to cloth, garment making. They're going to do that in that place. It's a free zone. There are so many other industries coming. Volkswagen, what Davos is in Germany is to talk to Volkswagen. There are some other industries coming. They're going to build a whole lot of industries, healthcare systems, entertainment industry, all in this place. The petrochemical industries will also come into that place. And we, at Geometric Power, are going to be supplying electricity to that particular place. So a lot is going to be happening. Because, like we said at the beginning, there's nobody that actually holding you from doing what we are talking about here. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. At least, never guys, I go when I check Ube, or get a Gulaman. Okay, I go when I check Ube. Now, I would like to call on Dr. Obika to tell us something about the rails. Now, I hope the rails will be easy to operate or access, like you access the planes.
Thank you very much, Chairman. All protocols observed. Maybe the reason why I find it so easy to jump on the plane and to jump on the next one back is because there are many projects that I do globally. Like I said last year, very few of them that I do with the same level of passion and commitment, because there are things you do for the international community and there are things you do for your own home. So the rail project for me, the Southeast Rail project for me, is really one of a passion and commitment. So where are we? Where have we moved from the thing? Now, just to recap, for those who do not know what the Southeast Rail project is all about. Just as Prof has said, the Enyimba Economic Project is an audacious project. And by the way, I'm also supporting the transportation planning for Enyimba Industrial, Enyimba Economic City. The Southeast Rail project, it's a loop around all the major economic hubs in the Southeast region. It loops from Aba with a spur to Port Harcourt to Owerri to Onitsha with a spur to Nnewi, connecting Onitsha to Enugu Umuahia, and again a spur to Abakaliki and back down to Aba. So it's a complete loop of a project. It's an ambitious, audacious project, but all the economics, all the projections and transport modeling we have done thus far to date says that it can be done, and indeed we are making progress and it will be delivered. The program, our initial estimates will be somewhere between $2 and $3 billion. So we have to take it in bite-sized chunks. We will start with the most economically viable routes, which speaks to initially from sort of Aba to Port Harcourt, and then we'll go from west to east along that loop. And that's very much in our program. So what have we done since we last spoke here about the program last year? Well, we'll set up the institutional structures. We've begun the feasibility studies that will lead us to a robust investment documentation that will allow us to market to investors. Indeed, we have also started the conversation with some major investors. It will require a significant equity investment, but we're confident from the freight projections we've done, the transport modeling we have done, which we have done in combination with the Enyimba Economic City. That allows us, having this joint up development in pockets allows us to project with much more confidence, which gives the investors much more confidence in terms of the projections. Just to highlight the importance of the Enyimba Economic City is that for those who, although Prof said it's 10,000 hectares, conceptually, that's bigger than Aba and Owerri combined at the moment. So it's a new major city. So that then speaks to the economic viability of the rail routes itself in terms of freight projections. You make money from freight when it comes to rail and not from passengers, as a general speak. I think that
I think this is beautiful. Beautiful. Can we give him another round of applause? I'm going to leave the best for the last. Dr. Chima, Ibeneche. Dr. Binna, for the gas pipeline, could you let us know what the status is, and have you had any problems since you started on it? Any obstacles?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. The gas pipeline project is pretty much the same model like the rail projects. The concept of the project is to create a gas pipeline network that will traverse the 5 southeast states into the major hubs and the major commercial cities of all the states to ensure that gas reaches them. We already have, within the southeast, we have gas assets, that are there. Some of them have been harnessed, some of them are still, just sitting there because there's no system to send them out. We have the Anambra Basin, we have gas in Enugu, we have in Ohaji. So the concept here is to create this pipeline that will then move gas around. It will help create power. There are IPPs that are existing that need gas. There are industries in Newi, there's the IPP in Okija. All these places will require gas. So that's the essence of this project. Between the last Cs and today, what we've done is we've created a teaser that has the basic information for the project. A high-level teaser. This has gone out to some people who are interested. We've gotten some feedback, and the next stage is to do a pre-feasibility study that goes into a little more deeper detail, to provide information about the risk, about the opportunity, about how the gas will be sold, and things like that. That would help answer the questions, the initial questions that have come from these proposed investors. And after that, there will be the main bankable feasibility study. ILF of Germany, has been identified as the company that will do that bankable feasibility study, and they're already on board and provided they are very much interested, and they have experience also, in such projects. So after the pre-feasibility stage, which is ongoing actually, that should be delivered by February 2019. And then we can completely engage ILF and they can take off with the bankable feasibility study. So that's about where we are now between last year and today.
Thank you very much. Economic development is just like building a tapestry. And from the two contributions, you can see a tapestry being built. In a tapestry, you have input and output. Some of the things you are going to build do not have complete input, but you can also get some output from them. If I were our industrialists in Igbo land, I would ask myself, given these two things that we have already, the three now, the Enyimba, the railway, the gas, where can I cue in? Because these are planning documents. You can now key in, where do I key in? in the railways? Why do I key in the gas? Why do I key in economic city? Now, these are planning issues. They say, when you manasu, ya so equal. Ama kwanasu, that's why. But like I said, opportunities are being created. At least very soon, when our children come out of the universities, they have the opportunity to apply for work within Southeast. Right now, you don't. And if you leave it to others to give you, you won't get. Mr. Money.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to make a brief remark on Southeast Finance Company Limited, SEFCo. A little background. All of us already know about the Southeast Regional Economic Development Corporation, SEREDEC. And the SEREDEC board, in their wisdom, decided to establish a SEREDEC Project Financing Committee. And the main mandate given to that committee is to make sure that the Southeast Finance Company, SEFCo, takes off. And what is the essence of SEFCo? The essence of SEFCo is to make sure that the necessary framework for funding the projects to be developed by SEREDEC and by other entities for the development of the Southeast are adequately funded. So SEFCo is to make sure that the various instruments in terms of debt, equity, diaspora bonds, identity bonds, ethnic bonds, as well as equities are mobilized to fund the various projects for the development of the Southeast. Now, what are the focus sectors to be funded? These are mainly big-ticket infrastructural projects, such as those already mentioned. As you would expect, most of those specialized projects that have been talked about, the rail, the gas pipelines, would have their own specialized funding. However, in addition, we expect that there could be some local derived fundings by SEFCo that will go into them. But more importantly, for most of the other projects that may be coming up that are not so specialized but are big ticket, we expect that the funding will be arranged by the Southeast Finance Company, SEFCo, and that's why SEREDEC has made sure that this organ, SEFCo, is established to guarantee some funding for the projects. The projects, as I said, are mainly going to be infrastructure projects and also some sector projects, agro-processing, ICT, and the rest. In terms of how fast SEFCo has gone, the committee that was established, possibly let me mention at this point that the board, in their wisdom, that SEREDEC board, decided to constitute a committee of about 7 Igbo experts to drive this process. But one of the most important achievements of that committee so far is that they established that it is necessary to link up with Igbo experts at home and in diaspora, including Igbo experts, for example, the chief executive of the African Export-Import Bank, the chief executive of the Nigerian Sub-Investment Authority, the DG budget of the Federation, and other such experts. So what this committee has done is to make sure we've gotten to link up with most of these Igbo experts at home and abroad, so that they be part of what we are doing. If you know that the 6 to 7-man committee, is taking the responsibility, but we appreciated that it's good to link up with other Igbo experts all over the world to make sure that the finance company, SEFCo, that will establish will be world standard, which we compare with the various investment vehicles all over the world. So we have done that, and we are getting responses from these Igbo experts at home and abroad. Now, when we are talking about SEFCo, the Southeast Finance Company, as I said, it has to compare with the best of the best. It has to compare with African Finance Corporation. It has to compare with the International Finance Corporation, which is the private sector arm of the World Bank Group. It has to compare more favorably with the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. So it has to compare very favorably and competitively with these other organizations. Therefore, one of the tasks the committee has is to make sure we hire and install the appropriate management team through a competitive process, so that it is this management team that will now drive the core process of mobilizing funds, developing projects, and developing various funding instruments. For most of these projects, they'll be funded on a case-by-case basis. While we expect that each project will have its own, we also think in terms of establishing a pool of funds. However, whichever be the case, for every project, for you to mobilize funds adequately in sufficient funds, you need transactional advisors, legal advisors, financial advisors, and deal makers and all that. Implicit in what I said so far is that you need very serious international standard project documents, which you will sell to the various investors home and abroad. Now, when you have mobilized funds for a particular project using appropriate investment advisors, you will now need to also use quantitative methods to get the appropriate contractors. For example, for the rail projects, you have to get the appropriate global contractors that can give us the world-class rail system we want. If it is for gas pipeline, it's the same thing. If it's for the world-class hospital that has been talked about, the same thing would have to happen. So we hope that by November 2019, that is our plan, that's what we are working to. The Southeast Finance Company, SEFCo, which is an offspring of SEFCo, would have really started implementing projects by mobilizing funds that sees the takeoff, at least of one of the projects. And that's the direction we are moving in. But in saying this, let me summarize this brief remark by going a little historical, because that's important. As you saw in the morning, we were introduced to an eminent Igbo man, an eminent Nigerian, an eminent African, Chief Mbazulika Meji. Now, these contributions we are trying to make now, all of us, some of them have tried to do it and done something even more bigger in the past. So that should be a source of inspiration for us. It's unfortunate it has left. In the social media over the past 2 weeks, one of the things trending was the contribution he made as a tribute to Igwe Zenwa. And he recounted how himself, Igwe Zenwa, and I think a couple of other Igbos had planned to establish float and airline as far back as 1966, I think. And they mobilized funds. They were ready to take delivery of the aircraft. And then the civil crisis started. The Nigerian Biafra Wars actually started. And they were not able to take off again. The money had to be kept at the London branch of African Continental Bank. You will see where I'm going to. As the war went on, the leader of Biafra, Odumegwu, requested them to make available those funds they were trying to use for their private project for the purpose of successfully ensuring the survival of this part of the world. And they met and they took a decision to hand over all the money they had assembled for that airline project, which was at the London branch of the ACD. They made it available so that this part of the world would not be extinguished, will not get extinct. Now I'm getting to that because, as people said in the morning, you have the hard assets. You also have the soft assets. Arguably, the more important of these assets is the soft assets. That is the commitment, the devotion, the inspiration, the responsibility of the people involved to make sure that the community survives. Now we are fighting a different type of war, a war of economic development, not a war of guns and rockets. And so if those men to make those sacrifices that time, it's about time that people of our own generation make a contribution toward the survival of this place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to borrow something from you. You said implicit in this is that. So I thought you were going to say implicit in that implicit is the need for angel capital. Because all these things he has reeled out, we are going to do this, we are going to do that, we are going to do this, beautiful. But you need stamp to post your letter. Where are you going to get the money? Therefore, we need angel capital. But this angel capital will be a different type of angel capital. I'm sure we all know what angel capital is. Thank you very much. So, we now have to decide whether this angel will be real or is it going to be taken as part of investment by the person who is providing it. I don't know which one is easier. And that is where your commitment is. You know, you may need something, but if you don't want it, you can never achieve it. So I need this, I need Chickerson's water to drink. I need it. Doctor said I need Chickerson's. But if I don't want it, I won't get it. I won't go for it. So please, if you think that what we are trying to do is good, not for you, not for you. Let us not be like our politicians who think of next election. We should be thinking of next generation. So, please, when the time comes for him to appeal for angel capital, let us not deny him. That's all I'm saying. Everybody, if I were us, everybody should be proud to participate in raising the angel capital for this noble cause. Am I making sense?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, I said I'm going to reserve the best for the last. She has never failed us. I can vouch for it. Whenever we asked, she provided. Now, Mrs. Uju Ifejika, I'm now going to ask you to, I'm not going to ask you for anything, but for you to speak to us.
Chairman, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters. I'll have to use a little bit of Igbo land. As na wine anaghị enwe obi. Odugo kita anụ a awụ wine bụ. Bụ asị unu. Elu ebe unu na-aghọtaghị ihe ncha na-akpọzi nwaanyị na bịa ihe nsị ihe niile ahụ na-ekwu dị mma but ihe nsị na anyị na-akele anyị ncha niile nọ ebe a onye dị bido oke onye ọwụ na-aṅụrụ ara nwaanyị onye Igbo before the war ya wenye ya ka before the war ọgwa mmadụ niile n'ebe a unu na-ekwu ihe niile anaghị eme ọfụma ebe anyị ga-ebidogo uru n'ime ụlọ be anyị a na-esi n'ụlọ mara mma wee pụọ n'iro nwoke unu bụ nwoke ọnwụchikwa obi ji ụlọ a na-ekwu okwu ndị mmadụ ugboro ole ka unu na-anụ ụlọ ugboro ole ka unu na-anụ ụlọ unu ncha niile nwabara n'ụlọ na vileji otu ụlọ unu nwere ise ndị na ana mmadụ every time unu ga na-akarị unu a na-ajụ ndị mmadụ kedu ihe ha mere kedu ihe ha for mụ amụ nwaanyị onye Igbo na-ekwu marginalization mụ na-achọ onye ga-marginalize ihe unu ga-ebido budu unu ncha niile n'ebe a dịgbado guilty from tebụl ebe a tebụl unu ọ na-asụ asụsụ be anyị unu enweghị ike ịkpa nkata zoro nzuzo n'ihu nwaanyị you can't do it so kedu ihe unu na-ekwu kedu ihe unu na-asị generation ihe unu na-apasị nna unu na nne unu apasịrị something to unu kedu ihe unu na-enye unu anọdụ ebe a na-ekwu ka ngwa unu ga-anagodu n'ụlọ ndị ugwu ndị nna anyị unu ncha niile n'ebe a unu ga-ana n'ụlọ cheki ụmụ unu niile na ụmụ unu niile ndị na-anaghị asụ asụsụ anyị ha ncha asụsụ bịa nke ọnụ ụfọdụ si na ha gụrụ I went to Oxford, I went to Harvard. Mgbe emechaa agwala m unu ndị n'obodo oyibo unu na-anata ebe onye natara ebe a na 87 85 ma onye bụ otu ya nata a ga-adọba ozu ahụ n'obodo oyibo bụka anyị nwa awụghị ebe a na-eli ozu so unu ga na-eme ka anyị mara ebe before my dad was a sub-treasurer as of 1956. They worked with the colonial masters. And they didn't need to tell us. I na aga village. Na agwagi. Back abagi. I na nga bansi jeto. You go. Omo onye azuru ofuma. And when royalty on both sides. My mom was the first daughter of the king of Abated Aro. My dad was the kingmakers in Ogidi. So I have royalty on both sides. I should be that is principle. But I'm a ebensi, I'm a no. Number one, at that, okay, I died. I can't even walk you. So the head before una na-aga ije ebido ndị ichiegbu na ndị nna nna dozie na ebe a maka na ọnwa oge eru anyị nwa bụ ụmụ nwaanyị ekunye wee wụsụ ụlọ ihe anyị na-ekwu kịta bụ na anyị ga-ebidogodu n'ụlọ wee dozie mba anyị ọ idozisiazi ebe anyị na-akpọzi mmadụ onye ọbụla na-amata so ihe a na-ekwu a na-eme investment na-emego cultural awakening ụmụaka anyị mmadụ one ma culture anyị so kedu ihe unu na-asị kedu ihe fọrọ anyị onye ọbụla karị 50 ebe ọ nweghịzi ihe fọrọ God say 3 score and 10 ọ na-eru gị ebere ọ like ga onye gị 4 score Papa never went 90, don't dear Amonaya, because I have you ready. Let you know what. So near now, wound, I told him, is so, on your judge, had judge interpret Henry. That's why you went as because now I'm so as so. Any now was a very so near now, but before the one about it, and he has his use of mine. Black and now, one day, not Chinese, the governor's eye. I needed to have that on a sign. Anyway, had the car meeting now. Only Honya Bia. Did you know? Only see Dubai, natural Dubai, only Honya neighbor. I can have
Now you see why I gave her a carte blanche to speak, because I know that she speaks from the heart, and I wasn't surprised. And this is not the first time she's been happening on this. When you manasu, yasu, when you mapanasu. And I think we're onto something. We're onto something. And we will factor in all these things, advices. When I came in here, somebody was speaking to me. Then I asked him, Iwonyibo? I said, yes. Sure, you see, here we are, Alebani. Omonyega no cham, yawo oku Yoruba. That is the beauty. See, all of us, I think people should imitate me. I'm not a village boy, but I'm a boy from a village. And that means if you're a boy from the village, you must know your village. You must know, like you said, the culture of your village. Because if you don't know, they say, name what that court non-habit. You don't give what you don't have. So if you don't know, you can't give. Therefore, you should know first. And this thing she said, home, the family. Call a spade a spade. It's a family. Is your family, I won't say ask, how is your family? So, I'm sorry, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. So, I want to make a Subano, I'm sure people are surprised that I have to go with. But it doesn't matter. I'm a boy from the village. And a man, thank you very much.